Good morning. The special meeting of the Windward Planning Commission will now come to order. It is Friday, November 1st, 2024. The time is 9:11 a.m. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. I'll now introduce our commissioners. Vice Chair Louis Daniele III,
Good morning.
Commissioner Lauren Baylog,
Good morning.
Commissioner Wayne DeLuz is absent and excused, Commissioner Chantel Perrin,
Good morning.
and I am Chairperson Dennis Lin. We do have a quorum to hold this meeting. Introducing from the Office of the Corporation Counsel, we have Deputy Corporation Counsel Susanna Tiapula, attorney for the commission, who is present to advise the,
Aloha.
okay, to advise the commission. Deputy Corporation Counsel Jean Campbell, attorney for the Planning Department. Representing the Planning Department, we have Deputy Planning Director Jeffrey Darrow,
Good morning.
who is present to advise the commission. Commissioners, we did receive a few more documents after we came in today, so please take an opportunity to review the materials. And I'll give Commissioner Baylog a few minutes to look over some of the documents there. And I'll continue with some housekeeping, and I'll come back to confirm that she's reviewed it. So please turn off or silence your cell phones. Public restrooms are located outside in the middle of the building on the Mackay side. If there is anyone here in person who would like to testify, please fill out the yellow sign-up form at the staff table. Also, if you have any written testimony that has not been sent in earlier, you may submit it now to staff. The purpose of this public meeting is to afford all interested persons a reasonable opportunity to comment on the County of Hawaii General Plan 2045, final recommended draft dated July 2024, and for the commission to review the draft plan and provide its recommendation to the county council. The commission will be holding meetings to review the draft general plan from now until March 2025, or until their review is complete. Today's meeting agenda lists the dates, times, and locations of future anticipated meetings. Each meeting will be continued to the next scheduled date. The commission is required to provide its recommendation to the county council by March 24, 2025. The format of these meetings will include a staff presentation, followed by a public testimony, and then commission questions of staff, discussion, and action on the draft plan. The planning department staff will provide a presentation of each section of the draft plan. For example, today, we will present the introduction section. The public may testify on any section of the draft plan at each meeting until public testimony is closed. After hearing public testimony, the commission may ask questions of staff and then make a motion to provide a recommendation to county council on the draft plan. This motion will remain open for several months until the last meeting on the draft plan, allowing commissioners to make subsidiary motions if they want to change the draft plan by adding, deleting, or replacing language.
I don't know what this is gonna be.
At the last meeting for review of the draft plan, the commission will vote on the main motion to forward its recommendation to county council. Today's meeting will end at 10:45 a.m., after which the commission will hold its regular meeting. The draft general plan and today's agenda can be found on the Planning Commission's website by searching online for Hawaii County Planning Commission, or going to the website address posted on the agenda. Okay, so commissioners, do you have any questions about the format of these meetings for the review of the draft general plan? Okay, seeing none. Okay, Commissioner Baylog, have you had opportunity to look at the documents? Commissioners, did you have opportunity to look at the additional information provided to you at the beginning of this meeting? Okay. I note that each commissioner has verbally confirmed that they had an opportunity to review the materials related to the agenda item and all submitted testimony. Okay, we will start with a presentation by planning staff. So commissioners, please take note of any questions you want to ask of staff, since we will reserve our questions until after hearing public testimony. Staff, please introduce yourself before beginning your presentation.
Aloha. Thank you for having me. My name is April Serpernut. I'm a planner with the planning department. And I will share my screen. There we go. Okay.
Sorry, April, just quickly. Commissioners, you do have a copy of this presentation in your packet in front of you. So if you want to follow along, you may also do so.
Excellent. Thank you. So again, thanks for having me come talk with you about the general plan. We've been doing work for this has been a long time coming to get through the adoption process, and we'll go through some of the process that we've been through today. So the purpose of the general plan is really an overarching guidance plan for the county to help direct the physical, economic, environmental, and sociocultural well-being of the overall county and for its residents. So it provides that long-range vision for the county and for all of the regulatory items that fall under the general plan. So generally speaking, what happens in the county from a governmental side should be consistent with the general plan. So it provides that overarching guide. We call it the umbrella document for that reason, and I typically use my hands to signal the overarching aspects and guidance that it provides to the county. There are kind of two functions that it provides. One sort of on a regulatory side, one more on a project related side. So under sort of the regulatory side, it provides guidance for our regional community development plans and other village and special area type plans, urban plans, things like that. It provides guidance, and those in turn provide guidance to our regulatory measures, which is our county code and our administrative rules. So how those are different avenues for how the general plan is implemented through our codes and rules. And then that filters down into boots on the ground, projects on the ground, providing permits. So those regulatory measures provide the guidance and direction for permits that are issued to members of the public. On the other side, it also provides guidance to all of our agencies and their agency plans, sometimes also referred to as functional plans, because they're specific to a particular arena under their kuleana, such as transportation, such as water resource development plan, a wastewater plan, a parks and recs plan, and the like. So those are very specific subject matter plans that fall under our agencies within the county. And those in turn guide the capital projects that get approved through the county council through the capital budget. And so, and also the operating budget, but largely in terms of projects, it'll be the capital projects and capital budgets. So just to be clear, and kind of with the last slide, the general plan is that overarching piece. It isn't in and of itself all of the details that go into those more focused type plans. It is not the same as a community development plan. It does not have the same level that a village long-range plan might have or a strategic plan might have, and it is not the same as our codes and rules. And so sometimes it's hard to keep that in mind in terms of the level of detail that really should be in the general plan versus the level of detail in those other types of plans that we discussed. So the scope of the general plan really covers a lot, and that is outlined in HRS. It is outlined in our charter. It is outlined in the general plan itself. It's outlined in the code. So there are a number of different areas, but what it really all boils down to is the general health, safety, and resilience of our communities, creating and having sustainable and responsible development throughout the county. Having a thriving and diverse economy for everyone who lives here. A collaborative cultural and environmental stewardship program, making sure that we honor our natural and cultural resources in all that we do. And an efficient, equitable, and integrated governmental system. And so to touch on the process, we have only ever had on our island, the history of our island, 3 general plans. The original in 1971, the second comprehensive review was adopted in 89, and then the third comprehensive review was adopted in 2005, which is the current general plan that we operate under today. And now we are in the adoption phase of this last iteration of the comprehensive review. So with that review, it started in 2015, which was 10 years after the 2005 general plan was adopted. We had an initial draft of policies and land use maps that were released in 2019. And then a more comprehensive draft was presented and out to the public last year in 2013. And now we have what is referred to as the final recommended draft of the general plan, which you are reviewing through this adoption process. And so what that looks like, if you sort of turn that horizontal time to a vertical, it looks something like this. With 2015, we've done a lot of outreach throughout this entire project, 9 years. We understand it's taken a long time and we're finally here, so we're all glad about that. But there's been a lot of public outreach throughout this entire process. We've had a change in a number of administrations that's taken some time to bring the new administration up to speed. We've had a number of disasters that have sort of stalled, I should say, this project a little bit while staff were helping with other urgent matters. And what that looks like in terms of outreach and timeline is a gamut. This is just a very summarized small snapshot of all of the outreach that has been done, be it county council members, annual updates, action committees, various stakeholder groups, economic development type groups, community groups. We've met with many people, landowners, all of our public agencies, both state and county public agencies going through this process. So this is, again, is just a brief snapshot of what some of those public meetings have looked like, and the level of participation, as well as the comments received throughout this process. And all of this information is available online on our website. So one of the challenges that we always have in big projects like this is balancing the myriad of data and input that we receive. And so balancing the different perspectives, the different agencies, and how we draft and try to provide some guidance for the overall county, taking all of those different perspectives into consideration. So for the adoption process, this last draft was released on July 29th of this year. And we're following the chapter 16.1 that is in the 2005 general plan. So you'll note along the timeline there are the sections that we're following that denote these different dates. We did our public workshops. We also did a lot of, in the regions that we did not do the big public workshops, we also did community meetings in those areas. So we hit all of the different districts in the county. We had the public comment period, which just ended at the end of September. And now we are here today. So the last piece of this intro is to just go through the overall framework of the plan. I'm not going to go through all of the sections. We'll do that at subsequent meetings with you in more detail. But important to note that the vision statement that is in the general plan really comes from a culmination of and a synthesizing of a lot of different input that we've received over time. It brings into consideration all of the community development plans and, again, more specific area plans that have been done with community. So all of those different things have really come together to create this vision statement on behalf of the community. One of the things that this general plan does that no other general plan has done is talk about sustainability principles and practices, and really more in much more detail pull together the intentions of combining and collaborating our cultural, economic, and environmental sustainability principles and practices throughout the county. Those are noted in various plans and some through state legislation, even and state plans, things like that. And so this plan really outlines covers all of these different things throughout the plan. There is a section on climate change, adaptation to climate change, and sustainability, but really these principles are woven throughout the plan. And then the last piece is really how it's structured. Just to be clear, the vision and goal, the vision statement, what we just went over, and then the goals that have filtered from that, again, being informed by community input, workshops, various plans that already exist, and then outlines, objectives, and guidelines, which really just further flesh out those goals and provide a little more detail. And then the implementing items within that are the policies and the actions. So the policies and actions get much more specific, and actions detail what can actually be done. How the plan is laid out and structured in terms of the chapters and the elements. You'll see on the left, the chapters are the introduction, which we've largely covered today briefly. The collaborative biocultural stewardship is our natural and cultural resources section. The adaptation to climate change covers both mitigation and adaptation. And then sustainable development and resilient communities really is the, again, boots on the ground. It's the things that we can see. It's the transportation projects and the parks projects that are being done. We talk about housing and what we can do about housing. And then the other piece that the other general plans have not really talked about is integrated systems. And that is a conversation and looking at policies and actions related to bringing all the different systems and all the different partners in a collaborative way together. So it's when we're digging up a road, for example, there are a lot of things that happen under that road, such as sewer systems and water systems and other types of utilities. And so making sure that we're doing a better job of collaborating with our various agencies that may have a stake in that particular project so that we can be more efficient and better utilize our resources. Then we also cover a thriving and diverse economy. It covers the economy in general, but it also specifically notes our two largest economic drivers, which is agriculture and the visitor industry. And then the last piece is the implementation section, where we talk about the planning system as a whole, the different types of ways to implement the general plan through a planning system, the capital improvements program, which we've talked about a little bit already, and then a monitoring and evaluation system going forward. So the current general plan and past general plans have not really included as much in the implementation sections. And so given what we've heard and even our own experience in the planning department, we've provided a more robust implementation section in this draft. So this is just where you can find more information with the website address noted below, but can also be a picture can be taken of the QR code. The overall planning website, which I point out, really calls out this starts with 2019, but it actually starts in, this is just a snapshot of a portion of the page. But it starts in 2015 and really lays out the entire process. So if you were to click on each one of these major headings, it outlines everything that was done. It links to all of the public comments received. It links to the work, the presentations that were presented at that time. It links to all of the work that's been done to date on the overall project. And then the interactive draft and maps can be found on a separate website that can also be clicked on from this website. But I've provided it here as well, where you can do word searches. You can see other people's comments. You can, it's closed right now for comment, but this is one way that people have provided comments, as well as written comments, verbal comments, and the like. And so we're just providing this as information. I would say too, as part of your package, you have all of the comments that have been received since this part of this draft has been open to the public, which was in July of this year. And so you have all of those comments. It includes comments received at the public meetings and the workshops. It also includes the verbal comments that were provided at those workshops. And of course, any written comments received and any emails received. And then the last piece is just to point out our next steps, as Chair has already done for us. Next time, we will start to talk about the biocultural stewardship section and also the adapting to climate change section. And then the future dates proposed for this overall action we've provided here as well. Thank you.
Thank you, April. Okay, so commissioners will hold our questioning until after we hear public testimony. So at this time, we'll move on to public testimony. We'll start with in person and then we'll go to Zoom. I do just want to before we start to receive public testimony, pursuant to Rule 1-5 of the Planning Commission's Rules of Practice and Procedure, I'd like to remind everyone to be courteous and respectful of all testifiers, staff members, and commissioners. Please direct all testimony to me as the chair. Testimony will be limited to 3 minutes per person per agenda item. In this case, it would just be limited to the general plan. I know that there are times when you may not disagree with somebody's testimony, but I do not want you to turn around and say, I don't like what you said. This is an open forum. So you're free to share your testimony with us as a commission. I don't want you directing any testimony to each other. So please try to stay respectful. So I will first start with the in-person testifiers. So if I could please get the testimony sheet, please.
Thank you, Chair Lynn. I have the testimony
okay.
sheet
Go
and I'll
ahead.
be happy to do the testimony for
Okay,
you.
thank you. Go ahead.
So the first two testifiers are Rebecca Melendez, followed by Amanda Hatcher. If you could come up to the testifier table so that you both may be sworn in to testify. And please turn on the microphone in front of you by tapping the button with the green dot. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth now before the Windward Planning Commission?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name, the town you reside in, and you may begin. You will have 3 minutes, and I will let you know when 30 seconds remain.
Aloha, I'm Rebecca Melendez. I live in Kailua Kona. So I just want to speak about this general plan. It breaks my heart, but so Zendo Kern has many news articles about him being corrupt with a high-end development. And I feel that this plan really states that. This plan is very vague. It's not black and white. It's very gray. I've had disagreements with what it's stated. If you have a general plan, it should be very, very clear to the community on what it says. Okay. So for instance, the AI map is not user-friendly. It's extremely challenging to use. We should be able to use it very, very easily. So this general plan actually wants to change different zonings for properties, personal properties, as well as high-end properties such as Hokulia, from ag land to rural, which will basically go against and allow them to avoid the State Land Commission, as well as allow them to avoid an environmental impact statement that protects the island, that protects the people. And this plan does this. It has, it's changing people's properties without them knowing. It's giving them a letter and saying, hey, your property was just changed. We just changed the zoning. How is that legal? That should not be legal. That's against our rights. Our rights should matter. And I ask you all to please look at the reputation of Zendo Kern and look at the fact that the community can't really understand a lot of this. A lot of this is not clear. A lot of the AI map is not clear. This needs to be stated very clearly for our community to understand what they are doing. And they are taking away people's properties, rezoning them. And it's not clear on what they're stating this general plan is all about. It's extremely vague. And I think that goes to try and solve a lawsuits. Oh, it's because it's so vague. It needs to be extremely clear. The Hawaii planning should not be afraid of lawsuits. They need to be extremely clear with what they're saying that we need to do. And I just ask you guys to really please vote for, go for us community, and know that we have a right to understand what they're doing on the island clearly. It should be clear. It needs to be black or white, not gray. And we need to not change zonings. How is that okay? How is that okay? That is to zone something, you have to do a lot of work. And it shouldn't be that the Hawaii planning to be allowed to change zones just by going through this general plan. It actually avoids a lot. So I just look at Zendo Kern's reputation. There's articles that have been written about the corruption. This general plan states that, and please stay with the community and the fact that we need to be clear, and we need to see a map that we could actually read, because we can't read this map. This map is not easy to use. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. I do just want to note, please refrain from doing any personal attacks on individuals. That is
Sorry, I
not
don't feel that
acceptable.
was personal.
That's
that
not acceptable in this forum.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I don't feel that was personal. I feel that was well known with the news articles.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Director.
Thank you, Chair. Just to address some of the concerns on the last testimony from Mrs. Melendez. And it's not just Mrs. Melendez. It's been a number of people that think that the general plan has the ability to change somebody's zoning. And that's actually not the case. What's happening is this is a general plan land use pattern allocation guide map. And so all it is the overlay for the future plan for the island that identifies where we would like to see certain zonings. That's all it is. It's the first step. And this is the process that you go about changing that. And so that is what's happening now. And so before somebody can change their zoning, they have to align with that map, or else it would be considered inconsistent with the plan. So what's happening now is there are certain areas that the planning department, the public, stakeholders, agencies have all been involved in saying what they'd like to see as far as changes to that. So you're not seeing a zone change. You're seeing just a map change that allows somebody to come in to go through the zoning process. That's all it is. Thank you.
Please state your name, the town you reside in, and you may begin your testimony. You will have 3 minutes and I'll let you know when 30 seconds remain.
Okay. Hi, I'm Amanda. I live in Captain Cook. Okay, I just kind of wanted to piggyback on what you just said. Do you guys have access to that map?
Sorry, if you state your first name and last name for the
Oh,
record.
Amanda Hatcher. Captain
Thank you.
Cook.
Yeah, and speak
Restart.
directly into the mic,
Okay,
please.
can you restart my time? Those seconds count. Okay. The map where it shows the proposed changes with how much is going to be in conservation. So as a county, we should be ultimately in control of, or have our resources as ours, because we can't really control things at the federal level, state level, but this here, we're all here this is our community, this is our land. And when you put things in conservation, you're giving that land to the state. And having an outside, like the Nature Conservancy, like take over and control it and steward it. And I think that the people of Hawaii who actually live here should be the ones to steward the land and be responsible for it. So that map, if hopefully you guys can see it, you know what I'm talking about, where you can swipe and see. That is a little bit scary because we would lose our natural resources. We wouldn't be able to steward our own land. So it kind of goes to this general plan. I read the whole thing. It's very similar to a lot of other general plans. So it was kind of like, I hate to say it, the lazy way out. It wasn't tailored to the Big Island in Hawaii. It was just kind of like a blank spot where like fill in your county right here, you put in Hawaii. It was shopped around and unfortunately, the planning director or the planning department took the bait and didn't make a general plan that suits the people. We are different here. Culturally, Hawaii is different than California and New York and all that. And also a lot of the other places where that same plan is being used are places that are already really developed and it's crowded and their natural resources are getting dwindling or whatever, getting spoiled. But out here in Hawaii, on the Big Island, we have plenty natural resources. We have an abundance of especially the farmers, the agriculture.
You have 30 seconds left.
Oh no, I didn't even, okay, the agriculture here is really big. And the best way for the whole island to not get swallowed by king grass and vines and goats and pigs is for people to be landowners to be able to spread out. If housing is a crisis now, housing is going to be worse if you put more in conservation and you don't allow for growth and expansion. Because the way this general plan is written, there's not room for growth.
Your
and
3
expansion.
minutes
They
are
wanna do
finished.
infill.
Thank you for your testimony.
Okay, can I just say one tiny little thing? With the volcano, if we don't have a bypass road for South Kona, like that could be devastating for a lot of people. There's that one road, and if there's a wreck, we can't pass. And if Mauna Loa goes off, that, and the way that this general plan is like it wants to centralize everything in just like Kona, like just have the roads right there, but then just just off limits everybody.
Thank you for your
the rest of
testimony.
South Kona, and we'll get just.
You do have opportunity to testify again at the next meeting that we
Would
have.
love to.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
The next 2 testifiers are Chris Kaiser, followed by Ken Fujiyama. If you could come up to the testifier table so I could swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth now before the Windward Planning Commission?
Yes.
Thank you. Please state your name and the town you reside in, and you may begin. You'll have 3 minutes, and I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining. Mr. Kaiser, you can start.
Yeah, my name's Chris Kaiser. I reside in Hilo, Hawaii. I,
Speak directly into the mic,
yeah.
please. Thank you. You can
um,
pull it forward. There's a little bit of slack there.
I'm here to represent Pacific West, who I'm employed by, who is the long-term tenant for parcels, 2 of the parcels that were, well, for 2 adjoining parcels, one of which is would be affected by the a redesignation in the general plan, proposed redesignation. Excuse me. Just real quick, Pacific West is a group living, operates a group living facility, providing mental health services to adolescents and young adults. And we employ roughly 75 people. The adjoining, we have a foundation that's donated $60,000 to local charities. We've been here for a long time, over 20 years and almost 15 years at the location that's adjacent to the proposed redesignation, which I'll refer to as parcel 16 down here in Keaukaha. And so essentially, to cut to the chase, as a long-term tenant there, we had plans and intentions to develop that property. And then I just found out 2 weeks ago, I feel bad. I know everyone's worked really hard on these plans and everything. And I'm not the property owner, we're just the tenants. But we just found out 2 weeks ago about this redesignation. I understand that the redesignation does not change the zoning. My concern is that the redesignation impacts, it's a consideration for getting an SMA. So even though the zoning isn't changed, the effect of that proposed redesignation would be, we can't develop that, and that would affect our long-term plans at that location. Again, we're not talking about some big hotel or something like that. It would only expand mental health services, increase jobs, and so that's why we're bummed out about the proposed change. Again, hotel resort
You
to
have 30 seconds left.
it's proposed to be changed from hotel resort to, I guess it's open or just recreation. Yeah, it seems like there's lots of parks nearby and there's plenty of that there anyway, but we're just trying to run a business and, you know, do good things in the community. And that is so the impacts of this would be potentially losing jobs, mental health services, and our potential long.
Your 3 minutes are finished. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Director?
Thank you, Chair. I'm guessing that there's probably a few people that are here to speak in regards to the change, maybe on their property or near their property regarding a change on the land use pattern allocation guide map. I would, it's very good to come here and testify, but also if you could please send us a letter letting us know of your concerns in regards to those changes. Thank you.
Mr. Fujiyama, please state your name, the town you reside in, and you may begin. You'll have 3 minutes, and I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining.
Hi, my name is Ken Fujiyama, and I'm here testifying as my own, my own, without representing anybody. I did 2 studies last year and started before that, and you have copies of what I presented. And my main focus on this was to address the idea of self-sustainability for the state. And when I talked to the legislator about this, I only was talking about 130,000 acres, and they said it's too big. So they didn't even bring it up. So that's why I'm bringing it up here, because I want everybody to know that we have to be self-sustainable in the state of Hawaii. And on what I projected here is that we need about 1 million acres to be self-sustainable. And if we don't have that, we're never going to be self-sustainable, although we can do it with hydroponics or aquaponics. But that alone is so expensive, and it's not 100% guaranteed. The project that I had looked at, to give you some background, was all of Hilo, above Hilo, from Mountain View all the way to Ka'e, which amounted to about 130,000 acres.
Mr. Fujiyama, if you could speak more into the mic, please.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I'm hard of hearing too, so. Okay. As I said, I prepared this study, primarily to make the presentation to the state. And I even talked to some of the council people. But again, just by mentioning that, they came back with very fast negative comments. And but as I said, we need 1 million acres at least to be self-sustainable for the state of Hawaii. If a disaster came and lasted for months, we'd all starve. Simple as that. If you look at this report here on page 3, this outlines the ownership of land in Hawaii. And we have, like 4 million acres. Of the 4 million acres, 1.6 million belongs to the state. Less than 1 million belongs to private ownership. And about,
You have 30 seconds remaining.
okay, and about 50% can never be farmed. Okay, so we have to have the state put up some land for farming. And if you look on page 26, almost every property on the windward side of every island, as long as there's a mountain, you have enough water, and you don't need the trees to generate the water. And this was proven by the University of Hawaii.
Your 3 minutes are finished. Thank you for your testimony. Your 3 minutes are finished.
Okay.
You-
50 pages to.
Thank you. We have it in front of us, so we will take it into consideration.
I really hope that you look and try to balance both, because without the land.
Yeah.
And I would, if you look at my notes, if you can designate everything below 3,600 feet elevation as agriculture, at least it'll show the state that, hey, we're serious about
Thank you.
self-sustainability.
And Mr. Fujiyama, if you could provide an electronic copy, or
Okay,
so
sure.
we can put this into the public record.
I would be willing to even talk to staff. And then, because, it's hard to just read a piece of paper and come up with the overall
Thank you.
scope of the thing. So I would gladly do that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The next testifiers are David Owens, followed by Sydney Fuki. Please come to the table so that you may be sworn in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth now before the Windward Planning Commission?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and the town you reside in, and you may begin. You'll have 3 minutes, and I will let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining.
I have a
Mr.
couple
Chairman.
minutes off the clock to explain where we are talking about.
No, it's restricted to 3 minutes just for
Okay.
time constraints.
We're talking about is across from, just from.
Sorry, if you could introduce.
Oh, David
Yeah.
Owens, I live in Keokau.
Thank you.
And we're talking about a parcel where the Rotary Park is, across from Suisun, down from Ponds. I call it the Rotary Park. I own the property next door, parcel 16. Unfortunately, this is the one that the general plan has targeted to be parkland. Chris Kaiser and Civic Quest leased that from me for the last 15 years. We have some long-term plans. I know it doesn't change the zoning. but it does put a cloud over the property. Any investor, partner, tenant will do their due diligence and see an overlay of open zoning. And it's basically robbing the property of its value and its use. We've got long-term plans, and this just puts a major cloud right over it. I'm all for taking public land and turning it into parks, but this isn't right. And so we're surrounded by light industrial, hotel resort. The park used to be a hotel resort, but then I noticed it's conservation now. 3 years ago, it just changed. I don't want that to happen to me. This is the only fee simple land in Hilo Bay. And even the state has a long-term plan. It's the Harbor Division did a study, and their long-term plan is marina, small craft marina, not a park. And they're the landlords of this property. The state owns it. The county leases it. And so we've got light industrial all around us, hotel around us, Suisan's there. There's welding shops, car dealerships. They're not glamorous, but they're necessary. I know that it looks nice to have bike trails and flower boxes, but we need these companies. We need Pacific Quest. And to start encroaching into them with these parks, Banyan Drive's a park. The whole thing's a park. There's a park out here, there's a park on both sides of us. To take private land, which I've had for 25 years, and encroach into that as a park, I find wrong. And I would like to see the planning department withdraw that.
You have 30 seconds left.
Oh, that's all. But anyway, I appreciate you looking into it.
Director?
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Looking at the property that was mentioned about the park, it looks like it's still zoned resort and urban.
Well,
Again, we understand the concerns of the proposed change. And if we could have something in writing from either yourself or both you and Chris, that would assist us in looking at that possible change. I guess
yeah.
up to this point, it was your properties as well as the others were kind of half in the general plan, but they lined up well with the zoning.
Well, the zoning of the parks changed to conservation now.
Yeah, it's on the map I'm looking at, the GIS, it's showing still resort and open.
That's right
in
there.
the urban
I
zone.
just did it this morning.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
3
sure
years
what
ago,
that-
it changed to conservation. And it was hotel resort until 2021.
Yeah, we'll
So
take a
it's-
look at that.
yeah,
Right
let's
now
look
on
into it.
current GIS, it's still showing.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you. And we do appreciate you guys bringing up these issues. It would be helpful to have the discussions with the planning department off planning commission hearing times, because we do have strict timelines that we have to abide by for our meetings so that we can get through everything. But if you do have issues, please direct it to staff after or during our breaks. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. My name is Sidney Fouquet. I'm here today on behalf of Kona Country Club. But before going into that, just sitting in the back, I'll just spend one of my 2 minutes. The general plan is basically a policy document, and you can have situations where a general plan comes without a map. Many jurisdictions you have that, and I think that the updated general plan is a worthwhile document. It brought the plan from the 20th to the 21st century. So I think from the policy standpoint, it's great. You have a LUPAG map, and then the operative term is really like guide, land use pattern allocation guide map. Now, the problem or the issue has become over the years that the guide no longer has become a guide, that has become pretty much like it's a mandate. So if you fall outside of that so-called box, then you don't check that box. So that becomes problematic. Now, if you don't have the map at all, then it's fine. You do a policy evaluation of each and every application, but that's not the case today. So as a result, the focus becomes more on the map. And so that's why I'm here talking about Kona Country Club. You're all familiar with Kona Country Club. They originally had 2 golf courses. The course on the Mauka side has since been abandoned for over 5 years, just never made money. And ironically, the general plan designation, the LUPAG map designated this area for open. The proposal now is to create this new category from open to recreation, but you don't have any golf course in that area. There's no recreational activity. What the owner is seeking is to have that area redesignated to low density urban, which would be consistent with all of the surrounding area. For some reason, when the general plan was first, the LUPAG map was created for this particular area. They had kind of like gerrymandered the property to have the golf course the LUPAG map corresponding to the golf course itself. If you look at other golf courses that are privately owned, for example, Makalei, Kona, the Big Island Country Club, now called Makani, they're like in a rural district or extensive ag. You don't see a separate band, designated specifically for open. Likewise for the Kukio or the Nanea golf course, they're low density urban or extensive ag. So all we're saying is that, it should be considered in the same vein. Hearing, some of the earlier testimony about does the LUPAG map change the zoning? No, it doesn't.
You have 30 seconds left.
Thank you. And so what we're saying over here is that by having this area changed to low density, then it doesn't dismiss the opportunity for the public to come in to testify on any zone change requests, SMA requests, and at which time all of the issues relating to the policy documents of the general plan and the zoning and the SMA requirements would still have to be addressed, infrastructure, view plane, and so on and so forth. If this area were so important for recreation, then I would suggest that whoever wants it to be kept in recreation, they should consult with ponds to see if there is any value in having the property retained in open space of recreation. Thank you. 3 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Oh, by the way, I have a written testimony, so.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, we received it. Thank you.
We have 6 in-person testifiers remaining. Next is David DeClean and Aaron Watkins. Please come up to the table. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth now before the Windward Planning Commission?
Yes.
Thank you. You'll have 3 minutes. I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining, and please state your name and the town you reside in before you begin.
David DeClean, Hilo. I'm going to just raise some very, very overarching concerns or ideas. The purpose and authority of the general plan, as it states, there's 8 of them, and I'll look at three of them. One says, identify the visions, values, and priorities of the people of the county. Another one says, promote and safeguard the public interest and the interests of the county as a whole. And the next one is facilitate democratic determination of community policy. So they all have to do with the democratic process of bringing all of the voices into this process of making this plan. I thank you all who have worked on this, and I assume that we're all working as a team and not as adversaries, even if sometimes it maybe comes out that way. There's a lot of hard work that's been done. I know that. But the draft is not ready for implementation, in my estimation. There's some groundwork still to do. I know there's a timeline, and I know it's been dragging on a long time, but many things drag on a long time until they're done right. Look at the road from Puna to Hilo. That's been dragging on forever, and it's a mess. Those poor people have to commute that every day. And this one, if we do it right, then we'll be happy. If we don't do it right, it'll be a problem. So we can never lose sight of those who the plan is for. So we're looking at liberty, sovereignty, and self-determination for all of us, because that's the main idea behind this plan. It's our voice that's here. I've submitted written testimony. I made 2 points for why the plan should not be accepted at this point. One of them is that there's no community development plan for Hilo. Hilo represents 22% of the Big Island. So to not have a CDP, I know there's other kinds of plans, but there's no CDP like every other district has for Hilo. And I don't think you can go forward with a general plan when 22% of the population are not involved in a CDP. And the second point is that the foundational concepts that undergird much of the plan have never been really discussed. They're just taken.
You have
And
30
what-
seconds left.
Oh, okay. So that's that comes from Agenda 21. It trickles down to on the county level through ICLEI. ICLEI, we're a sister city now with Fortaleza, Brazil. So that's an example of Agenda 21 through the WEF and the UN trickling down to Hawaii County. So all of the terminology that's used throughout our general plan, it really all comes from Agenda 21. So I would like to have a discussion here among
Your 3
our
minutes are finished.
community
For
to
your testimony.
decide, do we accept all of those tenets of Agenda 21? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Aaron Watkins. I reside in Hilo. My testimony today is I do own
If
property.
you could speak a little bit more into the mic, thank you.
I do own property near Kalanianaoli Park, and I am being affected by this general umbrella plan. It seems like, you know, you guys are saying it's not rezoning and whatnot, but it's almost like you guys are redrawing lines in the sand. It's kind of feels like you say this is just, I guess on paper, it's not being changed, but in the future, it feels like you guys have the power to change things because the general plan should, I do feel like there is a disconnect. It feels like a copy paste from a California standpoint or Florida or whatever. It doesn't feel like it represents Hilo enough. You guys have all this work put into years and years. I mean, since 2015, it's a long time, but yet you guys are going the wrong way. All this conservation, all this land use is going the wrong way. That we need more for the keiki. You know what I mean? That we have younger generations that are being choked out of Hilo. You guys are not planning it the right way for Hilo's growth. It is almost like it's choking Hilo's growth, in my opinion. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
The next testifiers are Marita Colley and Michelle Melendez. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth now before the Windward Planning Commission?
Yes.
Okay. You'll have 3 minutes and I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining. Please
Okay, good
let
morning.
us know your name and the town you reside in.
Okay, my name is Marita Colley. I live in Keaukaha. I am the sole owner of the property that is located at 101 Lihikai Street. And I, just on October 10th, I got this letter saying that they're planning to change the land use from resort to recreation. So I'm opposing this plan, and for several reasons. That's my property, that's my home, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna get emotional, but that's the only asset I have. And so down the road, if I need long-term care, let's say, that would be used to help me pay for that. If I'm fortunate not to not need long-term care, then I would be able to give this property to my family.
And so they too could enjoy beachfront property. I mean, not too many local people can afford a piece of property that is on the beach. Second of all, I live on a one-lane road. So on the right of me is basically a swamp. And on the left of me is about 4 of us that have homes there. I'm the only one that this is being affected that I know of, because I haven't been able to find out if there's other property owners that this is affected by. And so traffic would be horrendous if they changed it to a recreational. And I know they're not changing the zoning, but I'm looking down the road. And so if that becomes a beach park, my neighbors, they wouldn't be able to get to their property. Emergency vehicles would not be able to get to them if that should come to the case. And then also, you know, let's keep Keaukaha. It's a small community. Let's keep the pristine coastline, We don't need another park. We have so many other parks in that area. And that's all. So I'm asking for you guys to reconsider. Thank you for letting me testify today.
Director, you had something to say?
Just the same message as before, and I believe Andy had submitted something on your behalf, or you did this morning.
I did. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I submitted.
We
something.
appreciate
Yes,
that.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And as you mentioned, this doesn't change the zoning.
Yes.
It can have an effect on actions in the future, but that's why it's important that people talk to us and tell us their concerns so we can look at that and consider adjustments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Melendez, you may begin.
Michelle Melendez, Hakalau. First, I want to ask, you know, the testimony that was submitted on September 26th, and did the planning department even look at those? Because none of this new plan has any, I don't see any of the changes that we submitted, the testimony we submitted. The word stakeholder is written numerous times. I think it's about 47 times in this plan. And the word homeowner, farm owner is written 0. And then I'm told that, oh, stakeholder means farmer or homeowner, but it also means investors. And actually in the definition, it doesn't say farmer, homeowner. It says investors. It says suppliers. It says, oh, community members. So that's supposed to be homeowners. Like, who are these investors? That's a major question here. And I think I do have an answer for that. There's also in the general plan, it's on page 81. It talks about reviews should incorporate reduction in vehicle mileage traveled to mitigate traffic. So I'm just curious if you guys remember that you all took an oath to defend and support the Constitution, and we have a right to travel. We also have a right to own property. And I'm really curious, what laws and where in the Constitution does it say that you have a right to tell us what to do with our property and the land use? You know, what is happening is absolutely against the Constitution, and the Constitution these days seems like a bad word that people just don't want to discuss and remember. And these 3 circles that you have: social and cultural equity, that's fairness, environmental protection. When you have the word protection in places, that scares me, because what happened 2 years with protection, it took away our freedoms, disregarded the Constitution. This should say environmental stewardship. That should be that word there. And it should say cultural thriving, community thriving. When you have equity, that means fairness. That means that means more roles. You have in here, the council shall enacting zoning, subdivision, and such ordinances. And you're trying to say, Jeffrey, that you are not.
Ma'am.
I apologize.
Warning.
He's not even watching. I don't know if he's listening or not, because the whole time this person was saying something, he's on his computer. So
I guess he's looking up the property.
I'm
Okay.
looking up the information.
All right. I apologize. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you're sitting there telling us that there's no zoning, but that's not true. You're not going to change the zoning. That's not the truth, you guys. You're changing the land use, which gives an open door down the road to change the zoning. You also have in here, this last one, bulk regulations are standards that govern the provisions for lots based on housing type and by zoning district. You have your height limit, minimum building site areas, minimum building site average, minimum yards, setbacks, floor area ratio. What gives you the right to tell people what to do with their property? Are we in the United States of America? Are we in communist China? Do you guys remember your oath? Do you remember the flag? Do you remember the men and women who've died and fought for
Your 3 minutes
our
are up.
rights?
Thank you for your
Because I
testimony.
remember them.
The next testifiers are Patrick Kahaviola and Michael Tivana. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth now before the Windward Planning Commission?
I do.
Okay. You'll have 3 minutes and I'll let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining. Please state your name and town you reside in.
My name is Michael Tivana. I reside in Hakalau on the Hamakua Coast. I represent the Hakalau Farmers Market and the farmers on the Hamakua Coast. And Governor Green put out a decree to all the counties last year that he wanted half of the food that we consume in Hawaii to be grown and produced here in Hawaii. So as a farmer, and all the other farmers, we would love to contribute to that goal. And the problem we have is that government keeps getting in the way. So not only do we have increased property taxes on ag land, we have some bills in the county council that are limiting short-term visitor stays and bed and breakfast permits, things like that. So what April had on her first page of her screen when she does her PowerPoint presentation is that the things that are discussed in the general plan go down into the influencing the county codes. So I would like to see the county codes be more open to having more people visit here for agricultural purposes. It's called ag tourism. So whatever you can do and add to the general plan that increases our ability to have people come visit, whether it's a workshop, whether it's just a short-term stay for a week or something on our farms that helps our bottom line, which helps fund our farming. Otherwise, we're in farming until we can't afford it anymore. So we're always looking for ways to help increase our bottom line to produce food in this state. Now, I don't know who does there's so many different ways to change the planning. I've been involved in the general plan in the 90s and then in the 2015 cycle. And what I learned in the 2015 cycle is that when the land is changed hands, if that person passes on and wills it away, or if that person goes to sell their land, that's when the general plan changes take effect. So
You have
yeah, it
30
doesn't affect
seconds
zoning
remaining.
right now, but it will when that person goes to sell their land or when that person passes away. And so if you could have some influence over these redesignations or these changes to the zoning or the land use and allow for more people to stay on the land and be labor or visitors for the farming operations, that would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Director.
Thank you, Chair. So short-term vacation rentals on ag land is a tough subject these days. Obviously, we just had the Supreme Court ruling in regards to the Rose Hill case. We have the ongoing legislation for Bill 121 and Bill 122 having to do with TARs or transient accommodation rentals as well as B&Bs. There appears to be a change in direction right now regarding B&Bs, so that's a good thing. In regards to ag tourism, we currently have an ordinance in our zoning code that allows that. It's 25-415. If you look that up, it tells you the process to be able to go and establish that. If it includes overnight accommodations or other types of commercial venues like a wedding venue or something, it'll require a special permit, but it is an option to pursue at this time. Thank
Could you give me that number of that? bill again?
25-415
25-415. Oh,
in
yeah.
the zoning code.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Kaku. My name is Pat Kahawaiola. I'm a resident of Kilka, Panaeva, Hawaiian Homes. I would like this body to just look at, because we're in the general plan, to this body, and the document has been brought up before, and that's the county charter. Article 1, 1-1 and 1-2. It's the beginning. The county charter is the law book of the county of Hawaii. It contains a lot of its the ordinances and or whatever, how it operates. And the first, what I like to read is just that the people of county of Hawaii shall and continue to be a body political and a corporate by the name of the county of Hawaii, hereinafter in this charter called county. By the name it shall have perpetual succession. And 1-2, section 1-2, the geographical limitations, the island of Hawaii and all its islands within the state, within the shores thereof, and the waters adjacent thereto shall be the county of Hawaii. I am here to ask the question to you, Ann, or to Mr. Darrells. Where does Hawaiian homeland fits in that? If all the lands belong to the county, if all the lands on this island within its shore belongs to the county, where does the lands known as Hawaiian homelands, those lands that was created by the federal government in 1920 and that has been incorporated into this constitution by the Admissions Act? Without the Hawaiian Home Commission Act, there would be no state of Hawaii. So I just want to know where that lands is or are, because I have a problem when the county of Hawaii or any county in Hawaii has the jurisdiction, especially with land use. When it comes to land use, I've asked this question for the last 25 years, maybe even going back to when Mr. Fuke used to be the planning director. You know, I forgot, but when I hear him talk, he just knew what he was talking about because he used to be the planning director. You know, to give this body the LUPAG map and all of those kinds, the reasons why it's a policy document is because of his what he did before in the past for this county.
You have
So
30 seconds remaining.
I do want this body to just get that answer, because if it's this general plan is going to be and all the great things it's going to do, I just have a problem. Will that affect the lands having the status of Hawaiian homeland, being 167 acres of Hawaiian homelands are on this island? So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Chair, we have no one else signed up in person to testify, and I can hand it over to our Zoom host now.
Yes, go ahead. Oh, Director.
Thank you. Aloha, Patrick. Thank you for your testimony. No problem. You can come back up. Okay. So it's clear that the county does not have jurisdiction.
That's not in your charter.
Yes, I'm not sure about that, but that's, if it's not, it should be in there. Right. In 2003, Christopher Ewan, our planning director, had the wisdom to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. And basically, it was an agreement between the county and Department of Hawaiian Homelands, so that it was clear where, you know, each of us stand. And And it was a working relationship, and it's still going on today. And that relationship is that the county understands it has no jurisdiction over the Hawaiian Homelands. If Hawaiian Homelands wants the county to enforce any of its rules or regulations over a particular part of Hawaiian Homelands, the Department of Hawaiian Homelands will ask its lessees to follow those rules, and then the county can help out with enforcement or whatever. But it was with the understanding that if Hawaiian Homeland wanted to rezone their land, all they did was send us a letter and we rezoned the land. If they wanted to do an activity, they just let us know they're doing that activity. We have no jurisdiction. The same was questioned in regards to the state land use. And in 2019, the Attorney General for the Land Use Commission sent out an opinion that clarified that the state land use does not have jurisdiction over Hawaiian Homelands. So they have, and you're right, Uncle Pat, we gotta make that clear in the charter. But thank you.
Jeff, excuse me, Mr. Darrow, that's exactly what the general plan should do.
Yes.
Especially when it invokes the county charter. It's the basis in the county charter should be there. We tried in 2000 as a group that we came before to do that because that was, I think, 20 years ago with the planning. Right. It was a general plan being there. So and I became involved in that because I sat on a couple of boards and things that would generate for Native Hawaiians. However, it's still a missing. Yes, I agree. There is an MOA or MOU with the County of Hawaii. However, and again, I'm going to challenge the chairman if he needs to go and look at that MOU that was signed by then Mayor Kim and the chairman of the Department of Hawaiian Home. I think it was Renard Soon. It was never approved by the county council, which in the charter strictly says, the legislative branch gets down and nothing gets approved. It's got to be approved by the county council. So, and I'm this Hawaiian been sitting around for 25 years, not getting any answer. But thank all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just for the record, I did allow Uncle Pat to give us a little bit more clarity because the Department of Hawaiian Homelands is an important issue that it does need more clarity in our general plan considerations. Thank you. So we'll go on to the Zoom testifiers.
Chair Lynn, we have 3 Zoom testifiers. The first testifier is going to be Chuck Flaherty, followed by Janice Palmaglenny. Chuck, if you can please unmute yourself and turn on your camera so that you may be sworn in to testify.
Okay, you're starting it. Okay. Okay, have you started my video?
Yep, we can see. Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth now on this matter before the Windward Planning Commission?
I do.
State your name, the town you reside in, and you may begin. You will have 3 minutes, and I will let you know when 30 seconds remain.
Thank you. My name is Chuck Flaherty, Captain Cook. Mr. Chair, before my time starts, can I make a very brief 10-second clarification on this zoning issue and share a brief conversation I had with Land Use Commission?
It will be part of your 3 minutes. I'm sorry, I can't give you any exclusions from that time.
Well, that's interesting. Okay. So mahalo nui loa for your volunteer service on this commission. This agenda item should have been given more time. If you've read the GP 2045, then we now have a shared experience of attempting to compare it with the current general plan. The feedback that I've gotten from other members of the public that this comparison has been an almost impossible task because GP 2045 is a complete gut and replace of the current general plan Also, placing the GP 2045 online in 2 different software platforms has disenfranchised a large number of people who've made sincere efforts to make informed comments but are technologically challenged. As a general statement, the draft GP 2045 does not contain sufficient imperative and directive language to provide reasonable assurance that it will be implemented. That being said, there are documents that are relevant to the draft general plan that should have been provided to the commission. It may be that these were provided to you today, but I'm going to go ahead and review them. The most important of the documents not provided is the draft general plan 2040 that was released in August 2019 by then Planning Director Michael Yee. The reason GP 2040 is so important is because it shows the extent to which public access and cultural, historic, and scenic resource preservation policies and actions contained within GP 2040 were removed and not included in GP 2045. For instance, the sustainability objective on page 108 of GP 2040 states Native Hawaiian language, values, and practices are integrated into all county processes. This objective has been cleansed from the draft GP now before the commission. Another document is a report titled Hawaii County Scenic Resources Inventory and Mapping Project, Scenic Resource Protection Programs and Strategies, prepared for the Planning Department in August 2016. The policies and actions in GP 2040 included the programs and strategies recommended by this report. However, GP 2045 before you now removed these policies and actions and only makes a reference to the report. Another report not in the commission's initial packet is the trend
You
scenario.
have 30 seconds left.
Thank you. Trend Scenario and Land Use Allocation Technical Report published in April 2016. This report contains important information such as how many dwellings can be built with existing zoning, subdivision approvals, and building permits. The final one is the technical methodology for general planned land use. This was not released until August of 2024. It contains a lot of information the public had been requesting since last September, but it was not released until this past August. I encourage y'all to read that as well.
Your 3 minutes are finished. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you. Next testifier, please.
Janice, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth now before the Windward Planning Commission?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name, the town you reside in, and you may begin. You will have 3 minutes, and I will let you know when 30 seconds remain.
I'm Janice Palma Glenny, Kailua Kona. Aloha Commissioners. I've been involved in the general plan process since the beginning. The planning department says that the same draft has been garnering public input since 2015, but it's a different plan, process, and leadership than the previous administration. This administration has introduced technology that's disenfranchised the public while the mayor defended divisive language like NIMBYism being included in the plan. I admit that I'm confused about many aspects of the plan, which shouldn't be the case for anyone who's been paying such close attention. The last so-called public workshops weren't workshops, which they should have been. New land use categories like natural and recreation have added more confusion and deserve their own meetings. And community members continue to express concern about the planning director's conflicts of interest. Though the GP technically doesn't change zoning, there's implied acceptance that newly proposed designations would allow important steps in the public approval process to be removed with potential rezonings to follow. Particularly concerning are changes from ag designation to rural. Among other unknowns, thousands of new vacation rentals might potentially be added on what were ag lands protected by state law. This is of concern as there's a push for additional dwelling units throughout the county and state. This is ostensibly being supported to create affordable local housing, but few restrictions exist to prevent most of them from becoming more speculative product like vacation rentals or second homes. Huge ag developments like Kokolea could experience higher density without currently required state approval, creating more sprawl and environmental and cultural denigration, while potentially contravening concurrency requirements of the Kona Community Development Plan. Still, the planning department has refused to provide the public with solid reasoning behind those changes, despite formal FOIA requests. The GP failures seem partly intentional and partly due to staffing shortages, exacerbated by a nonstop barrage of critical issues and projects pushed by the director and council chair, with little or no regard for how obscene it feels to be strategically cut out of the processes that create life-changing laws and documents meant to be by and for the people. The director's conflicts and granular lack of acknowledgement of the confusion, needs, and goals of the public are palpable. I have little reason to feel optimism about this GP, which may in the end have to be dealt with in the courts, unless the department goes back and incorporates charrette-like gatherings that inform and are informed by all county stakeholders, and if public input is allowed to be meaningfully incorporated into the plan at final council review. Mahalo for all the hard work that's gone into this plan. It's just not ready for prime time. It needs to go back. Mahalo.
Thank you for your testimony. Next testifier, please.
Thank you. Our next testifier is going to be Sharday Freitas. If you can please unmute yourself and turn on your camera so that I can swear you in.
Sorry, I'm not testifying. Thank you.
Okay, Chair, that's all our Zoom testifiers.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you everyone for testifying. 1 second. Okay, Cup. Oh, yes.
We have a little time left. I don't know if, I know there has been a lot of confusion regarding the website, and I had asked April if there's a chance if we have a few minutes for to just show how it works.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially the land use maps. I know it's
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. By request of the director, if we could ask Ms. Supernat to come up to demonstrate the user features of the website. Because a lot of the public testifiers and the community members have had concerns about the usability of the website. So we'll go with that first, and then we'll go with questions from the commission after that.
Great, thank you. I also would like to point out that hard copies have always been available, PDF, electronic copies have been available, and we've sent that to people who have requested it. And written comments have always been accepted. Verbal and written comments have always been accepted throughout the entire process. The online opportunity was not a requirement. It was a different platform that that a lot of people actually have appreciated. Okay. Jeff, do you want me to start me with the general plan
Just the
department website or the interactive?
We can start from there, and then that'll show them how to get to it. Thank you, April.
Of course. Okay. So this is our general plan website that's on the department website. So if you just go to the, if you start with the, oops, go back, stop. There. If you start with the home page for the department, general plan is front and center. And then there is a general page that outlines a few pieces of the puzzle. This Conveyo platform is the interactive website. So again, this is front and center on how you can access that, as well as the PDF and the map, the link directly to the maps. Before I go there, and while I'm still on this website, if you also click on the comprehensive review tab, then it takes you to the page I was referring to in my presentation that shows the entire timeline in the process. And so why does this keep happening with this computer? I don't want this. There. So for example, under each section, you can see some of the notices that went out. You can see the resolutions that the council members had given at the time and the responses to those, all kinds of public comment, some of the work that was done with community and so on. So each one of these tabs outlines different, sorry, I wish I had a mouse. Is there a mouse for this? Because this is cumbersome. This computer is not responding. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Yay. Much better. Thank you. So anyway, that is available on all of the different stages throughout the process, just to point that out. If we go back to the general plan homepage and we click on the Conveyo platform, again, this is just the giving you instructions, but it pulls up the actual document. There we go. And this was a way for people who wanted to provide comments this way, such as these little yellow dots are comments from people that were able to comment in this way. It registers their name, the region that they're from, the page that they're making the comment on, and then the actual comment itself. You'll see in the package of comments that you have, it's a pretty large package if we were to print the whole thing. That in one of the sections of the public comments is the Conveyo online comments. And so you can see how one of the things that this platform offers is to print a report of all of those comments. And so instead of us having to type in and create and take extensive time documenting all of the comments that have come in, this actually creates a report. And so you can see the matrix that is in. It can create summaries and things of that nature, but you have the raw comments that were actually typed in by the members of the public who provided those comments.
So, real quickly, April, so on that page, it looks like you can go straight to a page that you want to. You can do a search. And
Yes.
I think you can also click on a subject and it'll take you to there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a list of the overall table of comments. This is the page table of comments, such as what you're looking at on the side. But you can also expand these different elements and go to direct sections with each one of these elements. So you are correct. Thank you, Jeff, for pointing that out.
Yeah.
And then you can type in, give me a word, Jeff.
If we could take a quick look at the map, I think
that's
that's
different.
where most of the,
Okay.
thank you.
So with the interactive map, you click on that tab. Again, right here, it's a separate tab. It opens a separate window. It brings up these are the directions that provides, and then you can see the overall island here. The other feature that this offers is this little swipe tool. So you can just click that on and it will show you what the layers are if I were to click on that. But basically this is the proposed general plan. This side is the current 2005 general plan. And you can zoom in as much as you want and you can swipe and see what the differences and the changes are. So that's an opportunity that everyone has. This is open and available today publicly, where you can zoom in to see what changes were made. Another place to see changes, and in trying to make it as transparent as possible, is excuse me, what we've called the change map. And it shows everything when it loads. Still loading. But everything in white on this map has not changed. Anything that has a color has changed. So if it's green, we can look at the, here it is, legend. So it shows what the colors mean. So if it's a green color, then it changed to agriculture or something in agriculture. If it's gray in tone, then it changed to industrial. If it is purple, it changed to resort. If it's this sort of mustard color, it changed to rural. And then peachy colors are urban. And then white again is no change. So, and the blues are in here are conservation. So the blues in here are conservation. There were some comments about conservation, just since I'm bringing it up. The lands that have shifted to conservation are either in state land use conservation, which means they're already in conservation. So the general plan simply matches that, or they are PONC lands, the public open space lands that have been purchased by the county. And in conversations with that department, they were also changed to conservation based on advice from that department that manages the commission.
Thank you very much, April. That was
You're
very helpful. Can you mention that again, April, the swipe? Maybe zoom into a parcel and then they can see. I think it's
Correct. The other side on this swipe is the proposed, the proposed general plan land use. So in this shows the changes, this is the proposed. And if you go to this map, this side is the proposed, this side is the existing. I'm going to follow the chair.
Yeah, so you can have discussions with the planning department after, but if you have any questions regarding how to use it, I suggest, yeah.
I think a better, I mean, just really quickly so we can move on. This isn't, is this the one that shows the proposed and the existing, April? So this is the best map to look at. The other one just basically shows you white that hasn't been changed and colors that have. This one shows you the proposed layout on the left side and the existing on the right. You can zoom into a parcel and it's very clear to see what the changes are.
It also says it up here in the thing where it says swipe left means leading. So the leading layer is the proposed. The right is the trailing, and the trailing layer is the 2005 existing general plan. So that's where it clarifies it in this swipe legend.
Very helpful tool. Thank you, April.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think that's the discussion you can have with staff individually. Yeah, because then it's gonna be going too much in the weed. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pranat. Okay, commissioners, do we have any questions for testifiers that have testified today? Okay. If not, any questions for staff? I think at this moment, I mean, it's a very, like we said, this is the introductory meeting for the commission on the general plan. For many of us, this is the first time we've seen a comprehensive document in front of us. So it's gonna take us some time to digest. And we have a full document here that we can, take notes and mark up. But for my comment as chair, and what would really help me as we go through this process is I know that many of you have had questions or concerns regarding specific properties, how it affects, your own land use. What I would ask is, if you have those concerns, one, file some kind of document with the planning department so it's on public record, so we see your concern. Number two is we see a lot of testimony that says just scrap the entire plan. That is not helpful to us. We have a plan in front of us. We cannot just say scrap the entire thing, because that is not productive. That's a lot of our own county resources that have been used to create this plan. So the best thing we can do right now is to revise it the best we can. Third is, one of the testifiers asked, how do we see Hilo? How do we see this island going forward? You guys tell us, what is your vision going forward? And how it relates to the specific portion of the plan. Because just providing a complaint saying that we don't like this section does not provide us what your vision is. So going forward in testimony, I would really appreciate that as chair, because that provides us a better direction of what your guys' concerns are, rather than just saying this is unconstitutional or there's no vision. What is the vision? What is the exact action that you would like us to do? That is helpful. Just saying scrap it does not help. So that's really the comment I had for this particular introduction meeting for this general plan. Yes. Yes, we do have it on record. Yes, we all have it on public record. The last thing I would say is for the planning department, the testimony that's provided in the system is very cumbersome to read because we have to click individual pieces of testimony. It would be much easier for us to look through testimony if it was combined in a PDF where we can just scroll through it rather than click in, close it, click out, click in, click out. I mean, there's over 200, 300, 400 pieces of testimony in that folder. It would just make it easier for us to be able to scroll through it rather than, okay, here's, Ms. Melendez, her testimony, close it out. Here's somebody else's, that creates a burdensome task for us to read testimony.
Chair, we would be happy to do that. We can provide it both methods so that the public can see their name
Yes.
and their testimony submitted and a combined PDF for
Thank
the
you.
commission so you can scroll.
Thank you. Okay, any other commissioners? Okay, if not, I really appreciate everybody's time this morning. We do have to head into our next agenda. So we'll take a 10-minute break before our, oh, sorry. I do have to officially end the meeting, sorry. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Chair, can we have a motion to continue
Oh, yes.
to
Yes,
the
we'll start with that.
November 4th meeting?
Okay, well, is there a motion to continue this discussion on the general plan to the November 4th meeting?
I'll make the motion to continue this
Okay.
on November 4th.
It's been moved by Vice Chair Daniele, seconded by Commissioner Perrin. Any discussion on that motion? If not, do we have to do voice? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. This will be the special meetings on the general plan will be continued to November 4th. And then do I have a motion to adjourn the special meeting for today?
I will make the motion to adjourn the special meeting for November 1st.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by, first motion made by Vice Chair Daniele, seconded by Commissioner Perrin. All in, any discussion? If not, all in favor to adjourn the meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion adjourned, or meeting adjourned. Thank you. So we will resume the regularly scheduled Windward Planning Commission meeting at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
So, Maya, where did you want to break?
We will have lunch at noon.
The closed caption transcript will be terminated shortly, and those who wish to save the transcript should do so now.